In this week's Retro Pop Culture News, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is getting a reboot. There is a new Star Wars Christmas special that's coming, but this time it's going to be a Lego movie. And Blazing Saddles has a cartoon that's being made, and we have a lot more news to talk about, so don't turn that dial. What up to my peoples, and welcome to Retro Crunch, your number one source for retro pop culture and news. Probably one of the very best sitcoms of the 90s and one of my favorites all time is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. When the show first started, few thought that Will Smith would end up having one of the most memorable and watched sitcoms ever, but that's exactly what happened. And many years after The Fresh Prince ended, there has been a ton of calls for a revival of the show, and it just never happened. But in March of 2019, a young filmmaker and fan of the show made a concept trailer called Bel-Air for what his version of a Fresh Prince reboot could really look like, and it was a phenomenal recreation of a gritty and dark adaptation of the show. The trailer for Bel-Air was so well received that even Will Smith took notice, and he gave huge props to the creator Morgan Cooper. Then all of that leads us to today, where we have learned through The Hollywood Reporter that Will Smith is actually in fact working with Morgan on a brand new Fresh Prince series. Although the trailer for this new show looked like it did a really good job of casting for the new series, as of right now it's not clear if any of those same actors that were featured on that YouTube trailer are going to be playing the same roles in the upcoming reboot. I really did like the casting from the Bel-Air trailer from 2019, so I hope that they actually keep them. But if you have not seen the Bel-Air trailer yet, I'll link to it in the description down below, and you can let me know what you thought about the casting in the comments. Then in our next story, a long time ago, far away in the 1970s, there was a Star Wars holiday special that to many people was so bad that even George Lucas admitted that it shouldn't have ever been made. Now, I remember watching the holiday special as a child. Back then, I really did like it, although it was a little bit out there and not what you would expect from a Star Wars franchise. But for me, it brought me a lot closer to the characters, and for that reason, I enjoyed it. But as many of you know, Lego and Star Wars have worked closely on a lot of projects, and now they have announced a new Lego Star Wars holiday special that will once again center on Chewbacca's homeworld. This time though, it is going to feature the characters from the sequel trilogy with Rey, Finn, and Poe Dameron. And Disney Plus, they released a statement on exactly what the show is going to be about. This holiday season, Disney Plus invites Lego and Star Wars fans to Chewbacca's homeworld of Kashyyyk for a Wookiee-sized celebration of the galaxy's most cheerful and magical holiday, Life Day. In the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special premiering exclusively on the service on Tuesday, November 17th. We wanted to give a wink and a nod to the original. It's a celebration of the saga. A lot of the characters will be interacting with different characters and perhaps even different versions of themselves at different ages. If you did get to see the 1970s version, you're probably going to really enjoy this new one even more because there's going to be a lot of homage to the old movie. But even if you haven't, it's cool to see that Disney is making a new special anyway. Oh, and it's coming out on the same day that the original one came out, so that's a nice touch, Disney.
Now what the hell do you think you're doing with that tin star, boy?
Watch that boy shit, redneck. You talking to the sheriff of Rock Ridge.
Next, I wanted to mention the 1974 comedy Blazing Saddles that starred Cleveland Little and Gene Wilder. It's getting a remake into an animated movie, but this time it's going to be set in the samurai era, and it's going to be about a dog who dreams of becoming a samurai while protecting a town full of cats. There's also a new Tron movie that was just announced, and it's going to star Jared Leto, but this time Jeff Bridges is not going to be in the movie. You know, it kind of sucks. When I found out about that news, I was a little bit upset because Jeff Bridges, he kind of made that movie. Even in the second one, they threw some footage of him. It was all CGI, but still, he was in there when he was younger. And then, of course, they had him when he was older in the movie. And this movie is based on him. It's based on Flynn, based on the arcade. So I'm a little bit disappointed that Jeff is not going to be in this movie, but hopefully they can make a good movie anyway. Then Norm Lear is back for a new live in front of a studio audience, and this new stage remake is going to center on the TV show Maude. I was actually really hoping that they were going to do a Sanford and Son one, but since they're not, I think Maude will be a pretty good one to do too. Also, there is a biopic about Andy Warhol that's being made, and it's going to star Jared Leto as Andy, and that should be pretty interesting for sure. Then moving on to some other retro news, if you remember the movie The Crow from 1994 that starred Bruce Lee's son Brandon Lee, the costume he wore in that movie just sold at auction for more than $20,000. Then if you'd like to have a sleepover at the last Blockbuster, now is your chance. Apparently the store is actually letting 3 people stay at the last Blockbuster on September 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's going to cost only $4 to stay the night, but it does kind of suck that only 3 people are going to get a chance at this. I think it's a really cool idea, Blockbuster, but horrible execution. And that's the news for the week, but there are a bunch of bonus stories that we didn't talk about today that are in the description down below. And finally, if you're into retro news and nostalgia stuff from back in the day, I'll see you in the next video that is right over there. Go check it out, guys. I'll catch you on the flip side, and remember, if it ain't retro, it ain't worth watching.